Finally, application. Because sometimes we have those memory leaks on the application. Like I said, if you have the application consuming memory, and usually when you go to those observability of those monitoring tools, you will see that the application has a pattern of consumption of memory. And if you see a staircase pattern, well, it goes up, plateaus, and then goes up and plateaus and goes up and plateaus until it consumes all of the memory. You have a leak there. Or if it's just exponential, so it's just consuming until it explodes, you have a memory leak there. And sometimes the application is just running. You're not even interacting with it. So it's really important to make sure that that doesn't happen. And sometimes it's just triggered by an action. I've seen sometimes that when you do an action on the application, it starts consuming the memory until it bursts. So make sure that you don't have those. Deployment issues. In here, I was a little bit on the fence on putting this on infrastructure on the application. But for me, the deployment is a responsibility of the application. The application must know how to deploy itself. It must have automation around it. It must know how to apply different configurations to different environments. It must know how to do the deployment. And because if the application is not deployed with success, you'll probably will have flakiness on your environment, or even just an environment that is not ready to use. And one of the things that we did was what we call a readiness probe. So after each deployment that we do, automated deploys in the pipeline, we have a readiness probe. For us was just, well, it was an e-commerce site. We were going to the main page and to a listing page and making sure that it's returning what we expected to do. And that was giving us at least the minimal assurance that the application was deployed with success. Because sometimes we try to go to the main page and it returns an error. So why is the deployment saying everything was deployed, but then the application is not running as we expected it to do? So the deployment for me is really a big thing. Make sure that you have mechanisms to do an automated deploy and to validate that deploy. And only after that validation that you must return that the deployment is okay. And finally, of course, actual issues on the targeted app. So, and this is why Flaky is so hurtful, because it makes it hard to understand if you have issues on the targeted application.